the summer of love.
Alright, what's up, Detroit Pro here, and today I'm back at you with another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile, and this time it's of my favorite deck of all time, Monarchs, with a bit of a twist. It's like the Dark Narcs versus, or mixed with, rather, Link Monarchs, or Extra Deck Monarchs, whichever one you want to call it. If you want to see a video separate on just the classic Domain Lock Monarchs, let me know, and I'll do another video of that once the ban list hits, just in case, you know, one of the Monarch cards gets unhit, which would be crazy good. Sorry if the audio is a little buggy. Don't know how my computer is going to be with this video. Anyways, moving on to the first card, Ether. So she's the best, obviously, that's since she's the only actual Monarch that got hit to 1. Or hit it all for that matter. Just like all of the level 8 Monarchs, you can tribute summon it using only one tribute, as long as it was a tribute summoned monster. Also, you can, just like with Erebus, you can send 2 Monarch spell trap cards with different names from your deck to the graveyard in order to special summon. This is the part that's different. In order to special summon a Monarch from your hand or deck, I do believe. Oh no, just from your deck, my bad. But it returns to your hand during the end phase. Also, her last effect, which is what made her so good, was that during your opponent's main phase, you can banish one Monarch spell trap card from your graveyard, and then tribute summon her, and it's a quick effect. So that's it. You know, it's just broken. Being able, because then once you tribute summon her, you can use that effect to get off Karaz, and then Karaz would combo off from Ether, being able to then, you know, actually I'm not sure if that would work like that. I think it would, because it's just whenever it's special summon. Anyways, moving on. 3 Erebus. So he has the, you know, the 2 Monarchs sending the 2 cards from the deck to the graveyard, and then what makes him different is you can then shuffle 1 card from your opponent's hand, field, or graveyard into the deck, so it doesn't target and doesn't destroy. It's really good. Also, once per turn during either player's main phase, if this card is in the graveyard, it can discard a Monarch spell or trap, and then target a Monarch in your graveyard and add it to your hand. You can target itself, which makes it very nice. So just, it's like a constant loop. If this card goes to the graveyard, it comes back to your hand, which is just really good. 2 Chaos. It's burning and banishment. Get to target a card on the field, banish it, and then inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. If it's a dark monster, then you can banish all cards with the same name from the hand, deck, extra deck, or basically wherever. And if you use a dark monster to tribute summon this card, you get to select 2 targets instead. My bad. English messed up today, apparently. 2 Karaz, draw power for the deck. You can basically, whenever you summon, you can target up to 2 cards on the field, destroy them, and if you do, each player can draw a card for each of their cards that was destroyed by Karaz's effect. So, if only your cards get destroyed, then only you get to draw cards, and vice versa. And he cannot attack the turn he was summoned. Same with Delg, he can't attack when he's summoned. But when he is summoned, you can target up to 2 cards in your opponent's graveyard and banish them, and then send that same number of cards from the top of their deck to the graveyard. Angmarl, you can banish 1 spell card from your graveyard and add 1 card with the same name from the deck to your hand. Oh, my bad. This can search out your Lure of Darkness if you've already used one. If you were running Pot of Desires, you could search that out. I don't know why more people don't run this in just like any deck that can handle tribute summoning, but who knows, it's really good. I run it at 1 just because it's searchable, and I don't really need it for too much other than to search out a Lure of Darkness. 2 Edia, So she can, whenever she's summoned, you can special summon Eidos. You can summon other ones, but Eidos is the only one in our deck that is eligible to be summoned. You can't special summon monsters from the extra deck this turn that you used her effect. Also, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one of your banished Monarch spell trap cards and add it to your hand. Both really good effects. Eidos, it gets you an extra normal summon whenever he's summoned, and then also you can banish this card from the graveyard, then target Edea and special summon her in defense position. Also, you can't special summon monsters from the extra deck the turn you activate the effect. 2 Grinder Golem, a Gofu, and a Max C. You should all know their effects by now. They're super meta. Monarch Stormforth, it contribute your opponent's stuff, and it's a quick effect, quick play spell, in fact, which is really nice. 3 Tenacity, it searches out any of your Monarch spell or trap cards. 3, well, you have to have a Monarch in hand in order to do so, though. 3 Return of the Monarchs, it searches out any of your Monarchs whenever you tribute summon a monster. Also, it has to be a face-up tribute summon. You can't, like, tribute set a monster and then activate the effect. But yeah. Also, you can't summon monsters from the extra deck the turn you use it. Domain, classically known for the Domain Lock, which you can't use in this deck because we have cards in our extra deck. But if you tribute summon monster you control attacks an opponent's monster, it gains 800 attack during damage calculation only. Also, once per turn, you can reduce the level of one level 8 Monarch by 2 until the end of the turn. And that's like in your hand. So if you have Ether in hand, you can reduce it by 2 and then summon it using her own effect or something, which is really good. Pantheism, it's discard a Monarch spell or trap card, and then you can draw 2 cards. Also, you can banish it from your graveyard, reveal 3 Monarch spell or trap cards, and then your opponent selects one of them to add to your hand. 2 Strike in the Monarch, you contribute a level 5 or higher normal summon monster, then target a face-up card on the field, and it has its effects negated. Then you get to draw a card. Also, during the main phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish it and declare an attribute. All face-up monsters become that attribute, which helps out with getting Caius' effect off. But its effect is pretty good because of the fact that you can end up getting a banish 2 off of it if you have Caius in hand and you know what you're doing. It's mainly for combo plays. 2 Allure of Darkness. Pretty much everything in this, well, a lot in this deck is dark. Yeah, there's a total of 13 dark targets for this out of 19. So I'd say it's pretty good. A 1-for-1 and a reinforcement. Both of them search out Edea, Arageki, 2 Prime, which you banish a Monarch spell or trap from your graveyard to special summon this card in defense position. Also, its first effect, which you're probably not going to use as much, but once per turn you can target 2 Monarch spell trap cards in the graveyard and shuffle them into your deck. Then you get to draw a card. The draw effect is really good, but you're just probably not going to use it as much just because Prime, it usually ends up in your graveyard. Solemn Warning, just because it's Solemn Warning, and there was room for it. Moving on to the extra deck. So, like I said, if you want to see a vanilla version of Monarchs, let me know. But because you can't just rip out the... I mean, I suppose you could. You could just rip out the extra deck if you wanted to for this deck and just not use it. But there's a few cards in the main deck that specifically exist for the extra deck. But anyways, moving on. So I'm going to start with Beatrice, just because of the fact that the fusion monster is irrelevant without Beatrice. It's a rank 6 Xyz monster, just requires 2 level 6 monsters. Also, once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach an Xyz material from this card and send 1 card from your deck to the graveyard. So, Foolish Burial. If this card in your possession is destroyed by your opponent's card and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a Burning Abyss monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, and you're going to special summon this dude off of it. and he cannot be targeted by an opponent's card effects. Also, once per turn during either player's turn, you can send a Burning Abyss card from your hand to the graveyard, which you can't do. Okay, so you're going to summon this guy. He cannot be targeted by opponent's card effects. Also, if this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, or if it was destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can send one random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard. Also, it's 2800 attacks, so it is really nice. I only wish that it was dark type so that I could use it as material for Caius, but it'll buff Star Eater, just because you have Gofu, and you might need 3200 attack on board, who knows. You already saw Beatrice, but Heretic Sun, 2 level 8 monsters, so you're going to be using Erebus probably for this, but once per turn you can detach an Xyz material from this card, tribute any number of monsters from your hand or your side of the field, then destroy an equal number of cards on the field. So it's non-target destruction, but it is still destruction, but against certain decks it still works very nicely. So yeah, that's why I run it. Plus it's 300,000 attack, which is pretty nice. Hope Harbinger, Dragon Titanic, 2 level 8 monsters, my bad. Once per turn during either player's turn, when a spell card or effect is activated on the field, you can negate that effect, and if you do, attach it to this card as Xyz material. So you're going to be attaching spell cards once per turn, which is pretty funny. And then when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can detach one Xyz material from this card, change the attack target to this card, and perform damage calculation. If a face-up Xyz monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one face-up Xyz monster you control. It gains attack equal to one of those destroyed monsters' original attack. So you're probably not going to be using its last effect too much, but being able to negate a spell frequently is really nice. Anyways, moving on to the Link aspect, which is probably the part that you're going to be using the most. 2 Link Spiders for the Gofu, a Link Karibo for the Edea. Also, you could use the Gofu tokens if you wanted to, but you can use Edea to summon Link Karibo, and then you can do the Link Karibo loop, which is really nice. Akashic Magician, which we're going to be using for Borolo Dragon. we're probably not going to use this too much, because I just don't really know what else to put in there. Also, you can end up getting a draw 1 off of it. Also, it does protect itself, so it's alright. Plus, it's not too hard to get out with this deck, so I run it for that. Proxy Dragon, once again, material for Borolo Dragon. Ningirsu, because it's non-target removal, which is really nice. Plus, you might be able to get a draw 1 off of it if you can combo off enough. Trigate Wizard, the best card to come out of a structure deck in like 10,000 years. I wouldn't say that, but really good card. Came out of the Cyberse Link structure deck, I think it was called. But it gains effects based off the number of cards or monsters co-linked with it. So if it's 1, if a monster co-linked to this card battles your opponent's monster, any battle damage it inflicts your opponent is doubled. With 2, once per turn, you can target 1 card on the field and banish it. And with 3, quick effect, whenever a card is activated, you can negate the activation. If you do, banish the card. Very nice. We have Borolo Dragon. Gets over anything that you need to get over. Firewall Dragon, just for loops. And then, as always, I don't go over the side deck, just because it's up to personal preference. And it's not entirely necessary, but that's basically why I don't go over the side deck. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile, and if you did, please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a roaring good day.